A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to films I should have talked about years ago. For today's presentation, I'm especially proud to bring along a little something from the mid-1980s. Something that has been far overlooked in comparison to other films released in the same year of 1984, alongside other media, of course. There was a lot of things that one could probably remember from the year 1984, from Terminator, Thomas and Friends, Transformers, and a bunch of other stuff. But The Last Starfighter was in fact a live-action film that simply depicted the world of video games in a rather unique way. The plot centers around a trailer park resident, a teen named Alex, and Lance Guest definitely performs the role pretty well. A person who is in fact caught off guard after completing a huge task, beating the high score in a video game. Because when he does, he is visited by a foreign visitor named Centauri. Centauri comes along in a rather bizarre looking vehicle with glowing doors and whatnot. This was before Back to the Future managed to perfect such unique vehicle designs and use them for specific points in the plots of any given film. But this, of course, was not just any vehicle that could travel on land. It was actually a spacecraft. A spacecraft that would actually hoist Alex away from his home on Earth and take him to a Starfighter HQ. You see, the video game itself, Starfighter, centers around a pilot in a first-person viewpoint that fires at anything that moves. Any enemies that are on the screen, it is up to the player to eliminate. And when Alex basically completes the game, beats the final boss, earns the high score, he was actually closely monitored by this organization from thousands of light years away from Earth. This space HQ, this port that's floating along the stars, is in fact a real life location that's settled across the galaxy. And Alex is in fact selected to be a new recruit, a new starfighter, to fight alongside the armies of good against evil. But the thing is that Alex himself was very skeptical and oftentimes was very intolerant of this sort of thing. Not so beloved on this sort of change. The first time that he was actually brought over to the Starfighter HQ, he actually demanded to go back. And when he did, he actually finds a clone of himself. A being that is in fact disguised as him, intended on living on Earth while he is away, out there fighting. So, if you thought that it couldn't possibly get any stranger, well, it turns out that there are in fact people that actually know about where he does live. The real Alex is back on Earth alongside the fake one, and both of which actually have to try to evade the attacks of incoming hostile species. These species, of course, were armed to the teeth. But thankfully, with a little bit of wit and creativity, they were actually able to take him out. This actually causes Alex to realize that he is actually wanted by the many people that want to help protect the cosmos from harm. So he eventually convinces everybody that he should be able to go back. And when he does, he gets himself a partner. Both of these two characters have their own ship and they set sail across the stars looking for this enemy in particular. When they do, one by one, ships are destroyed, some accidents end up taking place, but after some time passes, they actually win. The same skills that Alex used in the game were actually adopted, formatted specifically for real-life encounters. When he does pull these off successfully, he wins a war and is offered a high spot in the organization. He makes himself a visit back down to Earth to find his family and everybody who was actually out there looking for him the whole time. despite the fact that a fake Alex was around the whole time. Turns out, the whole thing was found. He himself had gone missing for a while. And the fake Alex basically sacrificed himself to allow the real one to gain the upper hand. And with that in mind, he basically won the war with a little bit of help. The people that needed him sacrificed themselves for his sake. For everybody on Earth, anybody in the world or the known universe that would be endangered. So the thing is, he saved everybody from harm. And he is in fact going to be living amongst the galaxy, serving all kinds of power to people in need. And he actually went ahead and brought his longtime girlfriend over with him. So together they can both serve power to anyone who needs it the most. So with that in mind, a video game turned into an incredible sci-fi action film, somewhat ahead of its time, but considering the fact that other well-known sci-fi films that circumnavigate the stars, from the Star Trek films to Alien, then we had Star Wars, of course. This was in fact a year after Return of the Jedi though, and a couple years before Aliens. So the thing is, this was already well at the height of sci-fi space war films, of all things considered. The Last Starfighter, 1984, was a bit of a predecessor to many of those that happened to have video game inclusivity. A lot of films today, from Wreck-It Ralph to Pixels, and then we have Pokemon Detective Pikachu as a more recent example, alongside some others. But The Last Starfighter was in fact one of the first to really drive in the idea that video game movies should become a cultural phenomenon. And with that in mind, I happen to present my scoring as a nice solid 8.0 out of 10.1. And any other ideas I could probably come up with would be the fact I highly recommend it for the fact that it has a decent cast, has itself a well-detailed plot, lots of great sets that they put together. Just another reason to go watch older films as opposed to what we can give from the capabilities of today's technology, because after all, the supposed good old days were filled with actual sets that they crafted by hand, sometimes by machine as well. This was way before computers ever became such an innovation that they could actually create movies from the ground up all on their own. So, many years before Toy Story and other such animated films. So, The Last Starfighter, I definitely recommend for those who really like to stick to that sort of nostalgia, or better yet, just that sort of period where this is how movies were made, all together. And with that in mind, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to have another bonus episode coming soon, so you don't want to miss that. So make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.